The power of Satan has many of them believing lies, but their hearts are filled with greed and the luxuries of this world. That is why they do what they do. We are being gathered from the four corners of the globe to become a great beacon to Sabaoth. Mark my words, it might be 20, 30, or even 50 years from now, but we will become such a great power, and they will welcome us back into their world. But I say stay here, separate yourself from evil, for it will only be a scheme to manipulate and divide us again. But Sabaoth will not move this little corner of the planet. It will be our own Lyle Station, Indiana, but for Sabaoth. We are much larger than Lyle Station, which was one of the earliest African American settlements in the United States. The town had a railroad station, post office, lumber mill, general stores, churches, an elementary school, and 55 homes. Lyle Station was started when a Tennessee slave owner freed Joshua and Sanford Lyles, gave them money, and urged them to seek freedom in a northern state. They journeyed up the Tennessee River to Ohio and the Wabash River. The brothers walked 2 miles east of the Wabash and bought a chunk of government land. The brothers cleared their ground and planted crops. Eventually, they accumulated over 1,200 acres of fertile river bottomlands. Following the Civil War, Joshua returned to Tennessee. He encouraged newly freed slaves to join him in this Indiana Garden of Eden, where cantaloupes and tomatoes grew big and plentiful in the sandy soil. Let us separate ourselves from evil, heal our hearts from the pain, and do the same as the Lyles brothers did. People of all colors, creeds, and beliefs will surround us. Again, it will be easy to do this once everyone has received enlightenment to understand what is happening, for this is truly the will of Sabaoth, that all men be as one. That is the reason I like this word you use, Mestizos. You see, some might not eat pork, some might be vegan. Learn what I say, and don't judge. Don't judge by your weaknesses, but by their weaknesses. Let that sink in for a minute. For we are all human, and none of us are perfect, just as the word says, enlighten. Let us use words to uplift and empower one another, for words are seeds planted in the soil of understanding. If the soil is rich, language is the harvest. The fruit of which is the formula for creation. When we lose our divine tongue or language, we lose the power of creation, Sabaoth. Friedrich began to glow brighter as he spoke. Queen and Wanyenyekevu looked at each other as Friedrich continued, justice or revenge is so tempting when someone has wrongfully accused us of exacting revenge on them. When we are in a position to hurt them back. Keep in mind that there is a difference between justice and revenge. There is a time when justice should be sought and fought for. Compensation for an injury inflicted or a loss suffered through neglect or abuse on behalf of ourselves or others. However, revenge refers to the desire to inflict pain, damage, or harm in response to any alleged or actual act of wrongdoing, an act of passion, not proper judgment. Justice seeks redress of wrongs suffered. To set right or seek a remedy for something. Revenge aims to hurt or inflict pain on the wrongdoer. In the case of David and King Saul, Saul became jealous to the point of obsession with destroying David, who was slated to be king in his place because Saul failed God. It was not David's fault that God anointed him. But as he could not hurt God, Saul wanted to hurt David instead, whom he blamed for his failures. The more love David showed Saul, the more he hated him for showing him up as the fallen, inadequate king he was. Saul was embarrassed and wanted to save face. David, a skilled warrior, was able to kill Saul, who was hunting him down like a criminal. He demonized David to everyone to justify it. David's fellow soldiers urged him to kill Saul before he killed him. But David showed mercy and spared the king he found sleeping in a cave. He cut off a piece of Saul's robe, which he later used to show him he could have taken his life. He appealed to Saul to make peace. But in his pride, Saul rejected the offer. David said to Saul, I have not wronged you, but you are hunting me down to destroy me. May the Lord judge between you and me and avenge the wrongs you have done to me, but my hand will not touch you. The old saying goes, from evildoers come evil deeds, so my hand will not come against you. Often, we are in a position to hurt someone who hurt us in ways other than physical. We can retaliate professionally, personally, or even legally. People today use slander, evil speech, false allegations or accusations, and defamation of character to destroy people, whether deserved or not. Here, David exercises remarkable restraint and respect for the laws of God and righteousness. As a result of his compassion, God later did judge between us. Saul was subsequently killed trying to set up the king of Judah, Jehoshaphat. It was God's justice and not revenge. Whatever a man sows, that shall he reap. Evil speech, even Judaism, Hebraism, or the foundation of the Judeo-Christian faith, is intensely aware of the power of speech and the harm that can be done through speech or evil speaking in the Torah or slander and gossip.